Hello friends, welcome to ADO.NET tutorial. In this sub-series, we are learning about the data relation and how to navigate between the data tables using the data relation. Now we are at the final part of the sub-series, and here we will learn about data relation expression. In this part 7, we will be forming expression via data relation traversal. The expression property of the data column is useful to define a derived column based on the expression. Right? The property is expression, and we can make use of it to derive a new expression based columns. For example, if a student data table contains 3 columns, namely Mark 1, Mark 2 and Mark 3, we can derive a new data column total marks using the expression total marks. That's the new data column, right? Total marks dot expression is the property equal to Mark 1 existing column plus Mark 2 plus Mark 3. So likewise, you can derive a new data column within your ADO.NET frontend. One can provide expression in the data column constructor itself. So that's also possible. So either you can use the expression property or in the constructor when you are constructing the data column. The time itself you can provide the expression. The expression can have parent-child navigation also. So here we are talking about data relation, right? So when we have data relation, you can make use of the parent-child navigation and form the expression column. So here if you see, it's a simple expression column. It doesn't use any parent-child navigation. But it's also possible to have parent-child navigation, and in this example we will make use of this parent-child navigation based expression columns. In our example, we will use expression to perform the aggregate function via parent-child traversal. So that's what we are going to see in this video. We will create a new data table called sales from the pubs DB. Make a relation between existing titles table and generate the summary report of the book sales. That means for a given title, we can print the aggregate of how many sales. I mean the count of sales, maximum of sales, minimum of sales, average, all those aggregate we can use. And if you see, to perform this aggregation, we need a relation as well as a traversal. The traversal should be from titles to sales. Title be the parent and sales be the child. That way we can perform the traversal and form a expression using the aggregate function as well as the parent-child navigation. Now here if you see, we are creating the SQL data adapter. By this time you are well known about this SQL data adapter. So here we are forming the select query and our connection is pubs, right? After that we are making use of missing action add with key to make use of primary key based retrieval. After that we are filling this sales table to the dataset ds pubs. So far we assembled 5 data tables to the dataset publisher. The tables are publisher, employees, there is a relation between publisher and employee, jobs, there is a relation between employee and jobs. Then we created a table title and established the relation between publisher and titles. Now we are creating one more table called sales, and we are pushing that to the DSPubs dataset. But we haven't yet established the relation, and here we are doing that as well. DSPubs dot relations dot add, the relationship name is titles to sales. So you can name your relation whatever you want. Here for easy readability purpose we are naming it as titles to sales. By reading this relation title, you can know that title is the parent and sales is the child, and the navigation direction is titles to sales. That however the reverse direction also possible by making use of the proper functions that we saw in our previous video also, right? Get parent, get child, or get parents, get childs. All those methods you can use. Alright, here the parent is title ID of the titles table, right? Then the child is title ID from sales table. That means here if you see for a given title, you can navigate how many sales, quantity of sales you can get, right? Using this parent-child relation. So in our data set, we will be having multiple tables. Right? There are multiple data tables, and we are establishing title and sales. This is titles and this is sales, and data relation is title to sales. So we have a data relation, right, that links this title as well as the sales table. Data column collection, sales summary column, DSPub tables, titles, columns. So if you see from our titles table, this is the title table, right? We are picking this title table and we are picking all the columns. So data column collection is in our hand now from the titles table. So why we are picking all the columns, see here this is the column collection, right? We can dynamically add more expression based columns. Sales summary columns dot add sales count, right? So here we are adding a new column. This is our sales summary column, which we retrieved from DSPubs tables collection. There are 5 tables. From there we are picking the title table dot columns. So we have all the column collection, that is sales summary columns. Sales summary columns dot add new column sales count. Then we are telling data type is system.int32. And here if you see, we are traversing the relation, right? Sum is the aggregate. This is expression. If you see, we specify that in double quotes. Sum of child of title to sales. Title to sales is our data relation, right? From there we are picking child and we are calculating the sum dot quantity, right? So child of titles to sales, that means for a given title we are making use of child, right? So here the child of title to sales will give all the child for a given single title, and from there we are picking the quantity, and from that quantity, so there may be multiple quantity, right, we are applying the sum. So here it will go like that. First we are giving the expression 1, then we are asking to pick all the child from that expression, when we are making the derived column, right? So from title table it will pick one row, then child of title there will be multiple row, all the sales rows will be retrieved using the child of title to sales, then dot quantity, so we are picking only the quantity column and we are applying the aggregate. So that's how we formed the new column sales count. Likewise, if you see, we have created other functions, max of child of total sales quantity, then here we are using minimum, here we are using average. So we derived 4 columns here, right? All are expression based column which make use of the parent to child traversal. Next, if you see DGV sales summary dot data source equal to DSPub tables of titles. So for these titles only we retrieved the columns, right? And we are making use of these columns and added 4 new columns, and we are giving this modified titles table with this included 4 columns to the data source property, right? DGV sales summary, that will be the last grid in our example, which is in the bottom spanning towards the entire width of the form. Alright, now let's go to the demo and do the code implementation. So here is the sales summary button, right? Using this we will fill this summary grid. So as already told, here we are filling the sales table, here we are establishing the relation. Then, as already explained in the PowerPoint slide, we are forming the summary columns, and if you see, here we are retrieving the column collection from our titles table that presents in the dataset. Here we already filled and added titles table in one of the click event. So that means we have to do all the click in sequential order so that the titles table will be available. Right, after that we are forming the expression column and adding 4 new column to the column collection, sales summary column. Now our data table is modified, titles data table is modified based on the column collection, right? So there are 4 expression column added to our titles table. Finally, we will bind the titles table with 4 new column, right? DSPub tables of title. Here if you see, we are directly adding the data table to the data source and we are not using any data member, but we used the relationship in terms of expression, right? Here we used only child. You can try with the parent also, so such a navigation also possible. Parent of, you can specify column name, I mean the relationship name, and you can pick the content. Alright, we will go ahead with the rebuild solution and run it. See, to perform the traversal we need titles table, right? So that means we need to fill these titles, but titles requires publisher also, so that's why here we are doing everything with a sequential order to explore our example. Now when you click sales summary, you can see all derived columns are displayed with the sales count. So we can state that the busy executive database guide, right, which made a total sales of 15, maximum sale is 10 and the minimum is 5, average is 7. Likewise, we produced the summary report using the expression column. So that's all. We completed the data relation example. Now you have an idea of how to use data relation inside the dataset object when it contains multiple data tables. That's all here in this video. We are ending the sub-series. Thank you for watching. Bye.